Welcome to part 1, How to Stamina Nightblade. In this video I'm going to go over useful skills for a Stamina Nightblade that can be used in any build, leading up to part 2, which is going to be Gear, 3 Survival, and then coming out with a PvE and PvP Spectre build. Stay tuned if you want to learn about Stam Nightblade. The Stamina Nightblade's main ability is centered around Surprise Attack. It's basically slashing at an enemy, doing physical damage, and reducing their physical resistance for a very long time. Attacking with Surprise Attack while stealth or invisible stuns the enemy, setting them off balance for 4.6 seconds. This will also proc a champion point passive as well, making you hit extremely hard. So optimally, you would like to try to get up on an enemy right here. They cannot detect you, and then do Surprise Attack. So when I move in really close, you can see it on my 4 key, I'll just spam it. So I'm going to get my buff up. Then I'm going to run in real quick, and I'm spamming 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Boom! Doesn't detect me. And you can get a big nasty hit off of him. That is how you use Surprise Attack to start. Or you can do the Ambush and Surprise Attack combo. Ambush is our gap closer that we're going to show you later. But the whole thing centers around Surprise Attack. So Surprise Attack here, out of stealth, with my 1 buff up, 3.6k non-crit, 3.8, and you see it did 3.88 the second time. The reason it did is it made that armor reduced. Big time damage. So your second Surprise Attack is going to hit a lot harder than your first. Also, you can do a trick, which is use Dark Cloak into a Surprise Attack. So Dark Cloak's on my back bar here. I do Dark Cloak, and then boom! Centers him off balance, hits really hard, and then you see that little circle around his head for a brief second. That is going to proc a champion point passive, allowing you to do a much more lot of damage. Okay, so how I use Surprise Attack consistently is basically all I do is do Light Attack, and it has to be Light Attack. Light Attack, Surprise Attack. Light Attack, Surprise Attack. Light Attack, Surprise Attack. And the reason why I do Light Attack, Surprise Attack, is that a saying? Is that a thing now? Is because it procs this ability here, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Relentless Focus. But it needs to be that light attack too. Also, if you're doing high-end content and endgame, there's a new set called the Essence Thief, which is only light attacks. So make sure you're doing light. So it's just real quick. And it'll actually do more damage than doing a medium wave. If you're on consoles, same thing. Tap your controller. Don't hold it down. So one more time. Here we go. Stealth. Get my buff up. If you come from behind or wherever you want to do, tap target your enemy. And then spam that 4 key. Because remember, it's really close. And you want to hit it right away. So spam, 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 spam. Boom! 8.7k. In PvP, people run around with 20 health. That's almost half their health. And then it was going to hit harder from there on. Surprise Attack. Do it. Even in PvP, PvE, it works as well. Single target damage. So here's a monster. Boom. 16k Surprise Attack. Sucker drops. So next up is Ambush, our gap closer. The second really important ability here for the Stamina Nightblade is Ambush. You basically travel through the air doing physical damage, stunning an enemy for 2 seconds, if it's an NPC. If it's a player, they're immobilized. That's very important. Not only is it a gap closer, it's your immobilization for people that are trying to go away. It also gives you Empower, making your next damage ability hit for 20% harder. So basically, you're going to ambush into a Surprise Attack is going to be your main source of damage right off the bat. Then you're going to follow it up with a Fear. And so for this video, I want to show you someone else trying to basically get away and how I use Ambush to close the gap. Alright, KFO. So ready? 3, 2, 1. Run away. So I'm continuing to ambush on him, and look at 5.8k. That hits pretty hard. So some people just do constant ambush spam, and it's actually pretty effective. But you see right there, ambush into a Surprise Attack, that's 7.1k. So when you're closing the gap, tap target, like if you have an enemy that's doing the line of sight mode like this, tap target them. See how he glows up like that? And then you don't have to like try to get your cursor right over him to click him. You can be over here and then click him. Boom, get on him. He tries to get away. I'm staying on him. I go ahead and heal up. Another trick here with ambush is that it's any attack. So if you read the ability, it says any attack empowerment. So what happens is in PvE, what I usually do is jump in, ambush, I light attack, and then I do a concealed weapon. But if you do it that way, you're going to lose your empowerment for surprise attack. So basically what you do is you jump in, do not light attack, boom, and concealed weapon. 7.1k, you can see his health going down pretty fast. So don't light attack. Jump, boom, then light attack. Almost killed him. So you can really take people out doing this combo. And that's your main source of burst damage right off the bat. The third vital ability, I think, for Stamina Nightblades comes Mass Hysteria, the Shadow. This morph allows you to basically terrify up to 3 enemies, causing them to flee in terror for 4.5 seconds. Essentially what it does is it drops their block and renders their character useless unless they CC break. Not only that, but after they've been stunned like this, it removes their movement speed and reduces their damage by 15%. So even if they're unstunnable, this is still decent to use. And it's an AoE. Remember, 3 targets. So this can be used in a crowd. You can spam it over and over to stun a lot of enemies if you want. So how I use this in a combination with what we've already learned. I like to do an ambush in, then do a surprise attack. Because you want to use your Empower to get that massive damage bonus right at the bat. Now what I do from there on is I'm going to do a Fear, which is what we call Mass Hysteria. Why? It's going to drop their block, render them vulnerable. Now that we've reduced their armor, guess what? Surprise attack's going to hit a lot harder, especially when their armor's debuffed and their block's down. So here we go. Ambush, surprise attack, Fear. And then, boom, another surprise attack, okay? I didn't have my buffs up. Bad Delta. So let's try that again. Ambush, surprise attack, Fear, and bang, you can almost kill him right there. That's how you use that effectively. And you want to do light attacks in between the concealed weapon. Okay, so for this time, I don't want you to break CC, do the whole duration. So if we look at this player that's going to be feared, you can see that there's no circle around his feet. I hit Fear, and he just turns and runs. You're looking for that black animation around the character. Once the stun's over, he gets CC immune. That's that circle there. It means I can sit here and do this over and over, and he can't be stunned for about 6 seconds. Okay, CC break. Boom. That's what you're looking for. The CC break. Okay, so you can do a bunch of different combos with this. The whole goal of Fear is for that character to lose control of their character, rendering them vulnerable for a split second. Whether you want to do an ultimate, continue your surprise attack spam, or something even more tricky. That's the whole rotation. So, ambush, concealed weapons, mass hysteria. Okay, since we're working up combos here, I want to talk about the Soul Harvest, the assassination finisher here. Ravage is an enemy with a spinning attack, dealing magic damage and increasing your damage against them by 20%. So as you can see here, we're building up a massive burst damage combination. We're still going to use our good old combo, ambush in, surprise attack, Fear, and guess what? Once that Fear's up, we've already debuffed their armor. Now if we do a Soul Harvest, we're going to just basically nuke them because their block is down, their armor is debuffed, they're vulnerable. And it's very, very cheap. Also, you do a lot more damage to them for a while, and it reduces their healing received. This is the single target pressure ability that I really, really like to use. The thing about it is, though, it is magic damage. It scales with your max stamina, so even if you're a stamina build, it's going to hit really hard. Though a magic build, this will hit pretty harder. What you can do, if you have Fighter's Guild leveled up to max, is use Flawless Dawnbreaker instead. It's a conal, but it hits very hard. And why I like it is it's slotted, you get more weapon damage. So it's a very, very good ultimate, double the cost, but it doesn't have the healing debuff associated with it. However, it does have more AoE, and it permanently buffs your character. But the nice thing about Soul Harvest is you generate ultimate with each kill. The other morph is great for stunning. Since I use Mass Hysteria primarily as my main source of stunning, I don't really need another stun. Okay, so let's try this out. We're going to try this out in conjunction with everything. So we're going to ambush in, surprise attack, Fear, and then boom. So as you can see, I didn't have my buffs up, So it didn't hit very hard and it didn't crit. Now let's try it with the buffs up. I'm gonna beat on this thing here for a minute. And you can see that ultimate generating. Look at that thing generate. So a little light attack here to get up some ultimate. And is she ready? She's ready. Alright, one buff. Ambush. Surprise attack. Boom, drop their block. Bang! 7.7k. Now, if you continue to put pressure on him or her, they will drop single target wise. But you have to continue to put pressure on them via surprise attack, light attacks. Why? That's your spammable ability. Doesn't cost a whole lot of stamina, and the light attacks is going to get that ultimate up fast, very, very fast. And so that is basically the single target combo that I constantly run on my Stamina Nightblade. But that's up in your face burst style. You've heard me talk about buffs quite a bit in this video, and I want to explain the two buffs that you want to run, which is one, Major Savagery, which gives you more weapon critical. You can get this through the Fighters Guild. You can also get this through potions. And all you have to do is have it slotted on your bar. If you're going to use 2 bars for damage, like most people do, you're going to have it double slotted. Or you can use potions, like I said. The other ability that you want to have on is something that gives you Major Brutality. So a lot of stamina builds use two-hander. Rally is the morph that you want, typically because it gives you a nice healing boost, lasts a very long time. Though you can get this in your siphoning tree, and that's the last ability. Sap Essence or Power Extraction is a stamina version of this, though I don't find it that effective, so I don't use it. So typically, you want to have a bar set up, two-hander with Rally, and then you want to double slot this. I don't in my PvP build, which I'll explain in a little bit. But for this, let's do it. So just to give you an example here, if I do a surprise attack, 3,000 damage. If I do it again, 3.2k. Remember, less armor, the better it hits. So let's do it again and go for a non-crit. 6.3, of course that's a crit. Okay, of course it's not going to crit. So 6.3 with Rally up. .5 is the non-crit that we got. So as you can see, it's just math, right? More weapon power, the harder you hit. More critical, the more often you're going to hit. Now, critical is at a base 1.5 rate. Okay, this is important. So when you critically hit someone, it's 1.5 the damage that you normally do. For a Stamina Nightblade specifically, I like to focus on high critical rating and armor reduction. And what better race to do that than a Khajiit? You get more weapon critical right here. You get more damage in stealth. It's just an excellent, excellent combination. And speaking of that, skills, we're going to get to gear 2, but another tip is the Shadow, increasing critical strike damage. You want to center around your builds around crit. As we can see, 60% of the time. That's over half. That's a lot of time we're going to crit. And even in PvP, there's ways to reduce the amount of damage that you get, but not be, basically, it's very, very hard to be immune from critical. So those two buffs, you want to run at all times. And if you want to see here, there's a bunch of different potions that you can run for critical, but a popular one is this Tri-Stat one. Major Brutality, Savagery, and Stamina. Last a very, very long time. But if you run these, you're going to be without some other resources or health. So your choice, 2 things you got to run. Okay, a couple other ones here that I like to use. Dark Cloak. Dark Cloak, you probably know what it is, but you cloak yourself and it removes negative effects, which I really like, especially if you're going to roll as a vampire. The other morph gives you max, basically 100% crit chance, but you have a lot of crit chance already as a Nightblade, so it's not that important in my opinion. Dark Cloak, I like it. What do? You cloak right here. Now, you can't be knocked out of single target effects, but you can be knocked out of Cloak with AoE. Do you have AoE on your bar? You have Bombard? Okay, so I want you to bombard me. Go ahead. See, it knocks you out of Cloak. Okay, stop. So if an AoEer is going to be on you, it's going to knock you out of Cloak. But if you go up onto him and you stealth, nothing's going to happen. So cloak is effective, but it's not as effective as it used to be, in my opinion. So use it to get away, use it to purge yourself, use it as an escape tool, and as a magic dump. As a Stamina Nightblade, you can only do this 2 or 3 times, and you're not going to be able to continually spam over here like Umbra. So you got to be diligent with your magic on this. Okay, a couple other abilities. Double Take. I like this. What Double Take does is an assassination ability. It gives you major evasion, your dodge can't. It gives you speed for 4 seconds. So go ahead and shoot me with the bow again. Just light attack me. So if you're going, see that dodge right there? 20% to dodge. Look at that. 20%. Come on, math. Come on, math. Math. Well, we're going to dodge again. Now, it doesn't seem that useful with one person beating on you every, 5 times. When 20 people are beating on you, okay, stop. Very, very useful. Very, very, very useful. Next ability up is Piercing Mark in the Assassination Tree. Then the best counter to another Nightblade is this ability, Piercing Mark. Basically, it marks them for a long time, and they cannot go stealth. They cannot go stealth, and it gives you max health when you kill that person. So I love this ability. When you mark someone here, all right, try to go stealth. They ain't going stealth. And if you got a cloak on, you're not cloaking. It's basically the greatest counter for a Nightblade. And a lot of Nightblades will panic. They'll be like, what do? I can't get stealth. Plus, when you kill them, you get a flood of health back. Great ability. Last ability up here that I want to show you is Relentless Focus, another one in the Assassination Tree. Build up momentum. Light attacks or heavy is going to be able to proc this massive, massive damage burst. Plus, just for using it, you get 8% more damage and stamina recovery. I don't use this typically on my PvP builds because it's really hard to pull off with double melee, but let's just show you what it looks like. So we're going to rebuff, pop this sucker. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see how it changes up? You hear that charge? Bang! Now, let's do a couple tricks with it. Remember what I told you about the empowering bonus of ambush? So what you can do is charge it up. Let's get our buffs back up. So we can charge it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. And you want to hit it hard? Jump. Bang! 20% harder. So there's a bunch of different ways to make this thing really, really shine. Love that ability. Some of the other abilities are not so good. Really good for magic, not so strong. If you're struggling with resource management, siphoning attacks makes all abilities give you a chance to get back resources, though it only lasts for 15 seconds. Another trick that I like to use is Sap Essence. Allows you to build ultimate out of combat. So if we're up here and we need ultimate, you basically click Sap Essence and dodge roll, and it builds ultimate for you. Don't know why, working as intended or whatever, but that's a little trick. Last thing I want to talk about, how to survive with the Nightblade. Alright, so how do we survive on a Nightblade? How do we heal, especially a Stamina Nightblade? It's not exactly the easiest thing to do. So we have a couple ways to heal magic-wise. We use Strafe, we use Sap Essence, we can use some Restoration Staff abilities, but a Stamina user primary way to heal is either through Killer's Blade, killing enemies. You can also kill an enemy and get Piercing Mark to get something back. But my main source of self-healing to start is from Rally. Rally allows you to give you a big heal the longer it lasts and once you press it again. So if we go here, it gives you a heal over time. Press it again, gives me a flood of health. So that's a really, really good ability that you can use regardless if you do PvE or PvP. The reason I highly recommend doing a lot of PvP is to get Vigor, Resolving Vigor. Renews yourself, heals yourself for 10,000 health over 5 seconds and nearby allies. So now, when you pair these two up, you have a lot self-healing, though it does use stamina. The same thing that you need to do damage with. So you have to be careful when you're doing this. Essentially, you want to center your build around being mobile, having a lot of stamina, and a lot of stamina regeneration if you're struggling with surviving. Pair it up with siphoning attacks and do light attacks in between. Use potions constantly. So let's just see how much healing we can do with this going on. Okay, start beating on me. So I'm going to pop Rally once. I'm going to do Vigor. Gotten murked. 50%. Keep beating on me. I'm going to Cloak once. He puts a dot on me. I'm going to cloak. I'm still at 100%. Just wrecking blow me. Just wrecking blow. I'm CC'd. Pop it again. The wrecking blow spam is real. Pop it. Block once. Use a potion. So, you can survive a lot of time with stamina, though you need to use it effectively. So don't just spam stamina abilities thinking you're going to live forever just like that, because when someone's on you, putting pressure on you, they're going to stun you. You're going to have to dodge roll. You're going to have to do all these things that take the resource that you need the most, which is stamina. And that, my friends, is Stamina Nightblade Part 1. In Part 2, we're going to go over gear. I'm going to explain to you some ways to optimize your gear so you can have more stealth healing. You can do more dodge rolling. And I'm going to do a couple different layers. So for those of you starting out, are not the top end PvE or PvPer and don't have gear, something that you can use as well and look forward to. See you next time. And how to Stamina Nightblade.